Console, online. HPG connection, online. Educational module, online. All systems, nominal.
Hello, class, and welcome to On the Origin of Battlemechs Podcast, episode 94. Today we are talking about the Spector, a 35-ton hunter-killer light mech, and it is an interesting little fellow. I'm your host, Brent Stewart. My co-hosts today are...
I'm Chandler.
And I'm Derek.
We are here today to talk about the Spector, as I said, a 35-ton machine, and it is an interesting little hunter-killer light mech. It was first seen in the Star League, and then resurrected shortly into the Clan Invasion era. This is due to the Endosteel chassis and XL engine. But once the tech level rose again, Northstorm began a 8-year production run that would be extended for an additional 10 years, effectively killing off the proposed new mech design, the Daemon, and being embroiled in legal controversy. The original Star League design sported a Chameleon light polarization shield and Null signature system, and few of the original models are known to still be operational. The 5S and ST have stealth armor to try and replace the 4F's lost systems, an adequate large-scale industrial replacement. But the legal issue can be learned about in other classes, but this is the Northstorm Schengel Arms legal issue, where the tech specs were provided in an obscure ancient Hahn dialect, resulting in Schengel's extortion-level expensive specialists being required to produce and install the stealth armor. The majority of the 5S's were sent to the Capellan Confederation, and ultimately McCarran's Armored Cavalry, as per the stealth armor contract, and short production run before retiring it for the ST line. Then the issues deteriorated to force, and the specialists were compelled to assist, air quotes, in the production of the ST line. The Spector does not have the reputation of the Exterminator, but it can easily be seen as a lighter version of it, for better or worse. The majority of the units were fielded by the Lyran Commonwealth, Comstar, and the Federated Suns, but units do find their way onto the open market. The Spector is often deployed with Talon in light recon hunting units.
It's a fast little boy.
It's fast.
I, for some reason, had it in my mind that it was like a 50-ton mech, and so I always thought it was kind of undergunned, but now that I realize it's a 35-tonner, it's not bad.
It's got a lot of heat sinks.
Yeah.
It's got at least 3.
I mean, the 4F has a lot of heat sinks for what it is.
It has 10.
Yeah, I mean, for a light mech, that's pretty good.
You have to
doubles.
have 10.
Yeah, they're doubles though, so you know.
True.
And it actually has decent armor, too.
Some light mechs you can legitimately get away with singles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it has the design quirks of difficult to maintain and rugged one.
Rugged. Doesn't need to get fixed very often, but when you do need to fix it, have a fun time.
It gonna get real expensive very, very quickly.
It's gonna get bad.
Get bad. I hope you don't like money.
Because that burned money right out of your hands.
Yep. So the first model is the SPR-4F, seen in 2640, and this unit has a movement of 7-11-7. It has a Guardian ECM in the right torso, it has a large laser in the right arm, and then it has 2 medium lasers in the left arm. It's got a Null signature system and the Chameleon light polarization field on each of its sections, of course. The Null signature system doesn't need to be on the center torso, though, of course. It's got 10 double heat sinks. Yeah, like this is a very fast boy with like a large laser and 2 medium lasers, which is not amazing for a 35-ton, but it's not bad. But the fact that it can jump 7.
You know what the best part is? It's actually undersynced.
Yeah.
It needs more heat sinks, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you have the Null Sig system on, you're generating an additional 6 heat. So if you fire everything...
No, the Chameleon is 6 heat.
It's the Chameleon, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, like, you're generating 30 heat if you fire the weapons with the Chameleon and Null Sig engaged, which can kind of...
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what you'd probably do is just turn off the Null Sig and Chameleon, fire, and then turn it right back on after the heat dissipates.
Well, I mean, I imagine in a lot of cases you would be poking with the large laser, and then the first turn you're able to use those medium lasers, you're actually stabbing them into somebody's back.
Yeah.
And so you jump away for like a 1 turn off or something like that.
Either that or just using this mech to just disrupt everything.
Yeah, I mean, with the Null Sig and the Chameleon, it's a +4 at long range. Like, have fun hitting it.
I think with this thing, it would be more... I would probably be using this thing to like disrupt C3I and stuff like that.
I was just thinking that about the Guardian. Yeah.
Like, not actually use it. The weapons are nice, but I think the weapons are more of like, you know...
It's got to have something.
Yeah, it's got to have something. But I think in the case of this thing, you're using it to just disrupt C3 systems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I need a...
Guardian on this?
Yeah, because it's going to be hard to hit, and I can just run around and just make you angry because I'm shutting off your network.
Yeah, like its TMM and the null signature system means it probably doesn't need an ECM. Like, the ECM is offensive in this situation.
Yeah, between the Chameleon, the Null...
The weapons, I would say, are actually more defensive than offensive. Like, it's basically all else fails, and it's got to start shooting, then it does. But otherwise, like, you're just running around, just making an absolute nuisance of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this thing was also designed to destroy light command mechs, so you could totally use this thing. Just don't fire a thing at all. Run up behind like a light command mech and then just alpha strike its rear armor and just, annihilate it because it's a light mech.
Mm-hmm.
And then just jump away with your heat sinks, at 1 billion degrees and, rinse and repeat as needed.
Yep.
They're not going to be able to detect you because of the null sig system or see you because of the chameleon system. So they're going to have a good time.
Yeah, and they're not going to be able to hit you even if they do, because you've probably jumped 7 to get away because... Remember, heat doesn't affect your jump movement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only downside is if something does connect, assuming it's a medium, you might be in trouble because you do have that XL. And, not a huge amount of armor, but you're not terribly armored.
It's got as much armor as it can carry.
Yeah. It is a 35-ton machine, which means it can only have so much armor.
I mean, for a 35-tonner, it has a pretty decent amount of armor. It's not like some of these where it's basically, a stiff breeze hits it and it just collapses.
Falls over.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is more me complaining about the limitations of the rule set because I would want to put more armor on the light mech than it can allow.
No, it's illegal.
But I just want to make a giant armored pillbox that'll run at you.
That's why you have tanks.
That's why you have assault mechs.
That's what tanks are. They're giant armored pillboxes that run at you.
Tanks, assault mechs.
Assault tanks.
Assault tanks.
Yo,
super
dog,
heavy
like
tanks. Oh, better yet, super heavy mechs. Wait, we're not there yet.
Yo, dog, I heard you like armor, so I got you a super heavy tank with armor for your armor, so you can armor while you armor.
Hey, man, there's a 200-ton tank. I found it. Anyway, we don't talk about that here.
We don't talk about that tank here.
We talk about it over on Armor Up.
Yes.
Eventually.
Armor Up. .tm.
Wow, that was a really, really well-timed plug.
Yes. It may sound like we planned that, but we didn't.
No, we didn't.
We don't plan
anyway.
things.
Well, the 4F has a battle value of 1224 and a point value of 35. And it basically is extinct for a very long time. But, the fluff says that there's 1 or 2 of them floating around in the world. So maybe it's a campaign hook or something. But it is followed up about, 400 years later with the 5F in 3053. And this guy's got a movement profile of 711-7. It's got a small laser in the head, an ECM suite in the right torso, large laser in the right torso, 2 medium lasers in the left arm. And it has endo steel and an XL engine and 11 double heat sinks.
I like it.
Yeah, it's basically a down-teched version of the Spector.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it's a down tech. I think it's a consumer level.
Well,
instead
I meant
of the
just
stealth
because
armor,
it's got
got
a lot of the high-tech technology like the Null Sig, the Chameleon.
True, but it does get endo steel.
It does get endo steel. But I'm just saying, with the advanced stealth technologies, it's a down-tech Spector.
Totally fair. But this is... Yeah, I don't think this is a strict downgrade. I think it's more of a more accessible thing. But then again, also, no, the Chameleon suite is the 007 James Bond stuff, so...
Yeah, I mean, if the 4F is your Special Forces elite, commando version, the Spectre 5F is your, Army Ranger, special, well-equipped unit, but not... Not with all the bells and whistles. This is more,
They merely have bells, no whistles.
It has some bells and whistles, but I can build a lot more of these faster.
Yeah.
With my technology base.
Yeah.
Even though Endosteel has like what, a 5-year backlog.
Yeah, backlog schmacklog.
Yeah.
What is it? I'm surprised they're only able to fit on another heatsink and a small laser for that Endosteel, but then again, it is only a 35-ton mech.
And they don't even add extra armor, because that's where I thought the weight would go. The weight savings would go, and it's like, no.
Nope. Can't add anymore.
Small laser, extra heat sink, and they didn't even give the right arm a hand, which is something that is interesting. Like the left arm's got a hand, but not the right arm, which is a little hard to tell in the art, because the art is very much like in profile as it's running, which looks good, but you don't get a full image of the machine.
Oh no! So, if you want a full image of the machine, look at the original 5F Spector art from the McCarran's Armored Cavalry book. Oh boy, is that good art! It's on the Sarna page if you want to look at it. It is art.
Yes, it is, and it's Spector with an O for the spelling. Yeah,
which is immensely irritating.
Yeah.
Yes,
learn that the hard way. Oh.
It derpy but somehow lovable.
It's the little smile that makes you love it.
I prefer the side view. I'm gonna pretend I never saw that, and I saw the side view, and I'm like, that's a cool looking mech.
I think you get the picture of the original War Dog art and put it next to each other, and it tells you to never talk to it or its son ever again. It's literally what it is. It's just a little War Dog.
Yeah. So back to this mech, I will say that with the loss of the advanced stealth technology, the heat actually gets a lot better on this.
Oh yeah,
you're actually well over. You're looking at 22 double heat sinks and only generating 15 heat. So you're you're not even heat neutral at that point. You're just heat positive.
Yeah.
Like you can lose heat sinks and you're still going to be fine.
I mean, you're going to be jumping 7, which means you're going to be generating 3 minimum, and then it's 1 for every 2 squares rounded up, so that would be 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me double check that, because it's been a while since I looked at the jumping rules.
Even then, you'd generally be fine, and that's if you're firing everything anyway. So
yeah, I mean, the fact that it doesn't have ERs means that it's pretty much heat neutral.
Yeah,
unless you start really jumping, but yeah. I mean, you already moved 7-11 on the ground. I mean, at that point, you're jumping to get over things.
True.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're going through like heavy woods or something like that.
Jumping to get over things. Woods are things.
Fair.
Come on, you're Canadian. You should know this.
I just, looking at the Mech Factory, like, faction availability for this mech, it's just so funny. Because it's got, like, your standard ones, like the Federated Suns, Comstar, they're in Commonwealth, and, like, the initial eras. And then, but you know how some of them are sold to, like, the mercenary units, so Wolf Dragoons, Kellhounds, Mercenary General. But then it also has, like, Centurious
Circinius.
Yeah, that one, Federation, for whatever reason.
Circinus?
Yeah.
Federation,
and then like the Republic of the Sphere has them, and the Regelan fiefs for whatever random reason.
The Regulans, man, they do.
The Regulans somehow have access to this thing.
We don't ask why the Regulans have things; they just do.
Yeah.
Last time we asked them why they had something, they nuked people. So it's that game of what does your dog have in its mouth, but with nukes.
Pretty much, until a certain Merrick shows up and lays down the law on them.
I feel like if anyone taught them to stop using nukes, it's the Sea Foxes.
Yeah, but like I said, a certain Merrick and her Sea Foxes might have laid down the law.
True. Good old Jessica Halaz Hughes Merrick. Because who doesn't need 3 last names?
Talking her daughter.
Oh, that too.
Her daughter laid down the law. Anyway, events many centuries in the future, and we're not there yet.
So it's +1 per hex. For a minimum of 3 for jump heat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so
generating about 7 heat.
7 max, 3 min.
Yeah, 7 max, 3 min. So, and then you've got 15 if you're firing everything, but you're probably not going to be firing the small laser. So, yeah, you're doing okay.
You're doing okay. I mean, it depends. If you don't even fire the large laser, like, you're good.
Yeah.
Or you just rotate firing the weapons.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, just like had to like wait. I think it's like right on that cusp. Like I want to make sure that I get the numbers right.
There are no numbers, Mr. Bond. There's only death.
No, there are some numbers. Specifically, the 5F has a battle value of 1183 and a point value of 33.
That was a transition.
Got you good there, Chandler.
That was a transition and a half right there.
I try.
We're getting professional.
So we have the next model, which is the 5S, and it was seen in 3067. So less of a time jump, but still a good 14 years. And this is the model that has the first of the stealth tech armor, which was from that disastrous tech sharing legal deal. And it's got the movement profile of 7-11-7. It's got the small laser in the head, ECM in the right torso, large laser in the right arm, and one medium pulse laser in the left arm. It's got that endo steel, the XL engine, and stealth armor, and the 11 heat sinks. So this suddenly became a hot boy again.
Yeah, it became a hot boy again.
He's toast.
So I'd like to point out that arms deal that we talked about earlier. It was at the behest of Catherine Steiner-Davian.
Mm-hmm.
She ruined something else now. Just add it to the list.
She's good at ruining things. Add it to the list. Get the Book of Grudges out.
The Book of Grudges. The Davian Book of Grudges.
Little did we know the Davians were actually dwarves this entire time. It's just Catherine Steiner-Davian all over every time.
Well, no, it's Sun Tzu, Catherine Steiner-Davian. Just the Karitas in general.
Those twins at the early days were not so great as well.
Those two, yep.
Yeah.
We still hold a grudge against them. Many grudges. Moving on.
The Star League for that one time that they messed up when the Hidden Wars.
Oh, yep. Can't forget the Star League. Yep.
Yeah. The second Hidden War, not the first one. That's
Yeah.
a different affair. So, yeah, this is basically a recreation of the 4F, or an attempt at it, using a more mass-produced stealth armor, it's good. Like, it's definitely much more scalable than the Chameleon and the Null signature, but it's still expensive. I could actually argue that this one is objectively higher tech because it also has endo steel.
Yeah.
It also has a pulse laser.
Yeah.
Yes, a medium pulse laser. I kind of wish they would have ditched the large laser for another two of them, but
Yeah.
Ooh, that would have been strong. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, generally I try not to comment on the weapons designs, but the weapons loadout on this is just so weird. Small laser, medium pulse, large laser. It's like,
where do you want to be?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Like the last two designs have a very clear hey, I have, my large laser, my two mediums, and then I know they added the small with the last variant, but all right, I can see that.
Yeah, that's the extra tonnage and to deal with infantry.
Yeah, that's some extra tonnage, and it can be useful, especially for alpha striking in the back. It definitely helps.
Oh yeah.
But
because sometimes you can just get that really nice jump to right behind them.
Yeah, but with this, I feel like if you're trying to do something like that and be an assassin of command mechs, and be offensive with your ECM, I think the pulse laser, dropping that large and pulse lasers, plus it would really help with. Well, no, it would have the same heat, but you would have a lot more effective weapon.
Yeah. And you could modulate your heat a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also the pulse would give you good numbers to help counteract the fact that you're probably jumping all the time.
With this, it just feels like it's literally we're just covering the range brackets. Here's our long range weapon. Here's our medium range weapon. Here's our close range weapon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay.
They could even take off the medium pulse laser and the large laser and just put on a large pulse laser.
Yeah.
Which, while I'm normally not a fan of the Innisphere large pulse laser, I feel like this is an instance where it could do its job.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Not to mention, you'd also still be more heat neutral.
Yeah. It's such a weird weapons loadout compared to the other two that I'm not a fan.
It's amazing how that one little change makes it very different.
Yeah. The stealth armor, you're going back to the roots of the original mech.
Mm-hmm.
But the weapons loadout, I think, is just not necessarily an upgrade. I feel like it's a downgrade.
Yeah.
So, but that's just
me.
me.
This guy has a battle value of 1155 and a point value of 35. So Alpha Strike does not agree with you, but Classic Battletech does, because this is the lowest pointed battle value one. So then we have a year later the SPR-ST, seen in 3068. And this guy's got a movement profile of 7-11-14. It can run 14 because it doesn't have any jump jets. It's got a Guardian ECM suite in the right torso. It has a targeting computer in the left torso. It's got an ER large laser in the right arm and 2 ER medium lasers in the left arm. It's got endo steel. It's got the stealth armor. It's got the XL engine. It's got 11 double heat sinks. And it has mask in the right torso.
Love it.
I like it a lot, yeah.
Yeah, like, this is what the S wishes it could be.
No, this is pod racing.
Yeah, this is pod racing. Yeah, you lose the seven jump jets, but, I mean, look what you gain. Look what you gain. You gain 2 ER medium lasers and ER large, a Guardian ECM. Well, I mean, you already had that.
Yeah.
But targeting computer and mask?
I mean, the mask, I think, is nice because it'll bump up that run of 11 to 14, which means you can probably actually go 10 hexes if you line things up and are picking your, movement directions well and lining everything up, because that'll give you a +4 TMM.
Yeah.
Again, this is going to be nearly impossible to hit.
And on top of that, you're able to snipe at people at long range, too. Like, you're able to be an absolute pain.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel comparably to, like, its other versions, so, like, the 4 and the 5F, I think where we were talking about them being more offensive Guardian ECM, I think in this it's more of a defensive, because you have those ER weapons, and you're fast.
Yeah.
So you can literally just harass, and at range. Like, you're poking at them while your assault mechs and heavy mechs move into position to engage.
Yeah, this runs up and down the line, sowing chaos and poke damage while everybody gets into position and, possibly disrupting any, like, tags or narc beacons or, what have you.
Yeah, I feel like initially, like, its battlefield role is, like we were just talking about, being a harasser, dealing with narc beacons, tags, like, basically cutting that off and inflicting damage that way. But then once, your enemy starts falling apart, that's when you send this thing after the enemy and start really getting engaged at close range. Because it's fast, it's got that Guardian ECM, like, you just throw them into chaos.
And don't forget it needs that ECM to use the stealth armor.
Yeah. But I think overall, it's probably the most well-rounded of all of them, I would say. At least that's my opinion, especially with that targeting computer thrown on there.
Oh, the targeting computer is a very nice side dish, bit of spice.
Yeah, especially with adding ER weapons on it.
Yes.
It's like, you're basically like, fly, my pretty. Go do Davian's work.
Yeah, like adding a targeting computer is like adding an extra ER onto the lasers. Just like Artemis is like adding an extra 5 onto an LRM.
Yeah, you just become that much more deadly.
He's scary.
I mean, I do miss the Jump 7 because that was extra spicy.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to trade off at some point. Like, you can't have everything, especially on a 35-tonner.
100%.
Especially on a 35-tonner, and especially on a 35-tonner with stealth.
Yeah.
And it still has fairly decent armor, too.
I do like that the stealth armor is kind of incentivized or works with the ER systems because, range is where the stealth armor works best.
Yep. Just an absolute pain. Like, how do I inflict suffering on my enemies? I throw this thing at them.
Just a lance of these.
I wouldn't take a lance of these. I don't think that's...
I know, but maximum pain of how to kill them.
Yeah.
Just, here, try to kill this.
I think it would work well in a recon or even like a fire support lance providing cover and harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a mech.
It is a mech.
So it's got a battle value of 1438 and a point value of 36. So generally a pretty tight grouping of point spread, but the little tweaks here and there definitely show what you can do with this already very well-defined machine, because, the basement is still over 1,000 points.
Yeah. I think it's... So looking at the BV for these, basically, because the 5S is 1155, then the 5F is 1183, then the 4F is 1224. So, like, they're all really close, but then you have, this one, the ST, which is 1438, so it's kind of the outlier.
Yeah. Also, I would make note, because it is a stealth armor / null signature system, those have had some tweaks in the battle values, so make sure you're going off of the MUL.
That might be where Yep. No, never mind. Don't listen to me. I'm
Because
looking
the
on
original,
Mech Factory right now, so.
yeah, the 4F on the sheet I have, which is from 3058 unabridged, is 1330.
Okay, yep, never mind. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You know what you're talking about. You just have bad info in front of you.
You don't talk that way of Mech Factory. You apologize to Mech Factory.
That's why I use Megamech.
I mean, databases are only as good as the people keeping them maintained.
That is true.
Megamech's proper. Proper good.
And we appreciate everybody who is putting in the effort and do not want to malign or derail anyone from doing the blessed work that they are doing.
Blake smiles upon you. And Craig does too, even though he can't smile anymore.
Craig be praised.
I am but a prophet of the blessed Blake. Praise be to him.
So, the Spector doesn't have any notable pilots, which is unfortunate, but it is also an opportunity class. That means you get to set the bar. You could be the first. You could go out on a daring adventure, find a machine, or take one out on the adventure, and write your name among the stars, among the annals of the heroes of the inner sphere, to be known as the shining example of a Spector pilot.
Just don't die.
Yeah.
Dying cramps your style. It's negative points of coolness factor.
I mean, unless it's like dying in a glorious last stand.
Yeah, that's the positive points overwhelm the negative points of dying.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you die, who's going to come back to tell your story? Someone else could get the details wrong.
I died, but I got better.
Yeah,
That's
I died,
true.
but I got better.
I died, but I got better.
And for our data dive, we are going to throw over to Chandler.
All right, so in today's data dive, we will be talking about the Chameleon light polarization shield, the Null signature system, and its grandchild, the Void signature system. We will not be talking about stealth armor, as we discussed stealth armor in our episode about all of the different armor types, because stealth armor is armor. It goes cling clang and keeps you from getting shot.
It is the standard stealth armor and therefore has already been covered because it is quote-unquote common.
It's also armor.
Yeah.
Whereas this Chameleon, Null signature, and Void signature systems are all not armor.
Wait, does that mean that you can equip something with Pharaoh with those?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's actually really cool.
The more you know. The more you know. All right, so the Chameleon light polarization shield and Null signature system were introduced in 2630 by the Terran hegemony. Who would have thought? Who would have thought the Terran hegemony was the one who would come out with the most cutting-edge piece of equipment we've seen yet? These are, of course, cutting-edge technology even to this day. These systems were deployed for the first time on the Exterminator Battlemech, which we talked about not too long ago. Working in tandem, these two systems were designed to make a mech virtually untargetable. And they pretty much do that. Like, if you are trying to shoot at a mech with both Chameleon and a null sig system, just good luck. You're not shooting at a mech anymore. You're shooting at a ghost. To start off, the Chameleon light polarization shield in the nitty gritty adds a +1 to hit at medium and a +2 to hit at long. This costs 6 critical hit slots on the mech and generates 6 points of heat while in use. And did I mention this makes the unit seem invisible? The CLPS system is essentially a primitive version of the mimetic armor that the Word of Blake would produce, and it uses a series of sensors and cameras to attempt to match the unit to its surroundings. So it goes all like its namesake, the Chameleon, and blends in.
Also go invisible. That's some, like I said, James Bond stuff.
I don't expect you to win, Mr. Bond. I expect you to not be able to see me. Null signature systems, on the other hand, work mainly against non-visual sensors. They essentially work very similar to modern stealth technology for like a stealth fighter, stealth bomber, where they dampen the electronic emissions and heat that a mech puts off, and essentially makes it nigh invisible to sensors at range. The system also makes a mech impossible for normal technology to detect while in a hidden state, and only the advanced Bloodhound active probe can detect such units. So if you were trying to spring the ultimate ambush, Null Sig system is your friend. Just good luck finding one. I say good luck finding one because neither the Chameleon or Null Sig systems are in production after the Star League falls, because no one knows how to make them. Not even the Word of Blake.
Well, I mean, technically the clans have the ability to make it. It's
Yeah,
just
and the clans are lame.
Yeah, the clans are lame. Their whole honor thing kind of, oh, we don't use stealth armor. Honor
Which I always thought was
duels and
odd.
whatnot.
Because I feel like that's something you could totally be like, yeah, I was smart and brought something that makes me harder to hit.
Yeah, but that's most dishonorable. It is a shameful display.
Yes.
Anyway.
So the in-game stats for a null signature system is blah, 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 blah. In-game, this results in a +1 at medium and +2 long range to hit against a mech equipped with null sig systems. The penalty of this is, of course, the mech cannot use any sort of targeting enhancement systems along with any equipment that results in needing communications due to the electronics baffling. So no targeting computers and no C3 systems for you guys up there. I know you Comstar and Word of Blake were looking. In addition, the equipment takes up 1 critical slot in every location for a total of 7 slots, and a critical hit to any of these slots will disable the system in its entirety. So just because your arm gets shot off, don't think it means your system keeps working. And of course, just because you couldn't have it be too nice, it generates 10 heat when active. As I mentioned earlier, it is important to note that both of these systems were intended to be used together, and they don't interfere with each other, resulting in a +2 to hit at medium ranges and a +4 at long.
But a +16 heat.
Yes, +16 heat. But this means that if you're going to optimize this, you just put it on something that uses missiles, and you just missile for days, constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you do. There's only missile. All right. Well, in 3070, after a full 10 years of research nonstop, I'm sure Craig has something to say about that. Craig was involved. Totally.
Praise Craig.
Praise Craig.
Honor me by promising not to put me back in the box.
The Word of Blake would unveil the end-all be-all in sneaky mech technology, the Void Signature System, or VSS. It is essentially, to simplify this a lot, it is essentially a mech-scale offshoot of the Battle Armor Mimetic Armor System that they had developed off of the Chameleon Light Polarization Shield and Null Signature System. The Void Signature System would end up being used in many more designs than its grandfathers, and would be seen mostly in the experimental Raptor 2 design, although it would also notably be used in a Archer design for the Word of Blake Protectorate Militias, which is very much not a commando unit. Granted, they probably still gave it to, the elites of the militias. One notable difference the VSS has from a normal CLPS or null sig system, it requires a ECM system like stealth armor that the Capellans developed, which, to note, it was developed off of schematics that they partially recovered about the null sig system and CLPS systems. Back to fun number time. In-game, the Void Signature System grants a bonus 2 hit based on the distance the equipped mech has moved. At 0 hexes, it has a +3 to hit. At 1 to 2 hexes of movement, it has a +2. At 3 to 5 hexes of movement, it has a +1. And if you move any faster than that, it does nothing for you. You can rationalize this as the system of cameras and sensors that the mech is using to make itself become invisible, or, well, basically invisible, is unable to track fast enough and alter the look of the mech fast enough to render itself invisible, or at least hard to see, which makes sense. So that's got to be a lot of computational power it's got to be running through.
Yeah. But I mean, just looking at the stats on the system, this screams to me put on assault machine.
Oh yeah, like putting it on that Archer for the Word of Blake Protectorate, that makes sense. It just sits in the back and it just shoots missiles all day.
Yeah,
you do nothing else. You don't move. You just sit there.
Invisible artillery mech.
Exactly.
Think of an Atlas with the Void Signature System on it in a urban combat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You always have at least a +1 to hit because you cannot move faster than 5.
Yeah.
Or an Annihilator.
Ugh. Yeah, like one of those just absolute pillbox mechs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, the VSS system does require an ECM suite, and it also generates 10 additional points of heat and takes up 1 critical spot in every crit location. So it is very similar to the stealth armor that the Capellans made, just mimetic flavor instead of ranged flavor.
Mm-hmm.
The VSS is also undetectable to sensors except for the Bloodhound active probe, like with the Null Signature System. And it also shares the Null Signature System's weakness that a critical hit to any of the critical slots or the ECM will disable the entire system. So you don't want to get hurt at all. Just don't get hurt, don't get shot, just don't.
All I'm hearing is just put this thing on an assault mech. It just makes more sense.
Yeah.
Based on how the rolls work, just stealthy assault mechs.
That's where the Word of Blake went wrong.
I mean...
Besides all the other things they went wrong with.
Yeah, but, like, imagine stealthy Word of Blake assault mechs. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, like you could see it, kind of. Your sensors can see it, kind of. But like, kind of does not make a difference. Kind of is only helps a little bit.
especially when it's heavily armored, so you're not worrying about those crits. Ugh.
Yeah.
Imagine it with hardened armor.
Ooh.
Oh my god, that's what you do. You do a Annihilator, so it moves 2/3 with hardened armor, so it only moves 2/2. You always have a 2-up. Or a +2 to hit.
Yeah.
Always.
That's terrible.
You just put that guarding like the one bridge into the capital, and
It just never dies.
you're good.
You just have to carpet bomb the entire area and hope you get it.
No, you just have one stationed on either side of the bridge, and it's just like in the Never-Ending Story. You know, anybody who approaches just gets vaporized.
What happened to that entire company of mechs? I don't know.
It just disappeared. I don't know.
The same thing that happened in Japan during.
Yeah, we sank 2 of their boats and they unleashed the sun.
I think you meant during Ilclan, but yes.
Yes, yeah, I meant Ilclan.
No. Sorry.
One thing that is a very interesting weakness of the voice signature system is it doesn't work very well against like people. So in game, it actually, whatever bonus it has in defensive to hit is subtracted by 1 if it's an infantry unit.
Interesting.
My guess it's human eyes are a lot harder to trick than mechanical eyes.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense, is because you're looking at something and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be, like, for sensors, it's one thing, but for, like, the human eye, like...
And the lizard brain.
and my lizard brain, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It's got to...
When did that building gain a gut?
Yeah. There's got to be something about it that, like, when you look at it from the human perspective, it's like, wait a minute, that's not right. That's not how it should look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it probably curves a little, or it doesn't curve, but like it kind of sits still a little bit too much. Like if you're looking at it, and you move, like you walk past it, it's still too still.
Or it just shimmers.
Yeah.
Classic. Halo style, it shimmers.
I mean, I don't... That would be my guess, is that it's something like that, where it's, hey, like, that just doesn't look natural.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of effect of it that causes that.
There is an algorithm trying to trick another algorithm is going to work a little better because they're literally programmed to fight each other. Whereas like you can't really program for every human's Mark 1 eyeball.
Hey now. We got at least Mark 2s by now.
Not all of us are Mad-Eye Domini.
I didn't say we're Mad-Eye Domini. I just said naturally over time we got Mark 2s.
Praise Blake.
Praise be.
Do I have 2.5 because I have glasses?
You've got the
or
soft
is that
patch.
1.5?
You've got the glasses expansion pack.
As long as I don't have to uninstall and then upgrade to eye patch, I should be okay.
Anyway,
that's it. That's all the weird systems today, folks.
Mm-hmm. And of course, special shout out for the Mememic Ardor Mememic Ardor armor.
Memetic arteries. They're arteries that disappear.
Memetic armor, because it's on the Purifier, and you see the Purifier a lot in the 3100s. So
yeah, the Republic of Sphere very much kept it around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of those things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
Personally, I'm a bigger fan of the Purifier Terra variant, which replaces the Memetic armor with advanced standard armor, and just makes it a lot more fighty. But I mean, to each their own. Some people just like invisible battle armor.
I mean, each has their own role, so
yeah,
it's just different roles for the system.
I mean, why not both?
Yeah, why not both?
Yeah.
We can have both, you know.
What? Yeah, I guess we can.
We can.
My sources for today are Sarna, Battletech Battlemech Manual, Master Unit List, TRO and Record Sheets Succession War, TRO and Record Sheets 3085 Unabridged. I might have said 3058 earlier in the episode because I probably typed out the record sheet notes wrong. Bugger.
I do have a source. My source was TAC Ops, because TAC Ops is a great book. That totally
It is.
isn't a disaster to read through.
I mean, my only source is Mech Factory, so plug for Mech Factory.
This podcast is made possible by our supporters on patreon.com/on the Origin of Battlemechs, link in the description. Our social media on Twitter is at Origin of Mechs. We also have a community Discord, the Armory of Ouroboros, link in the description. You can email us at ontheoriginofbattlemechs@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a review on your platform of consumption, tell your friends about us, and share on your community platform of choice. Special thanks to my friend Laura for the intro and outro. Our Ace Pilot Patreons are John Keith III, Metal Ed, and Stahlkater. Class dismissed. Everybody have a great day.
Bye.
Stay safe out there.
Module complete. System standby. Would you like to load the next module?
I'm your host, Brent Stewart. My co-hosts today are...
I'm Chandler.
And I'm Derek.
Are you though?
I am.
Okay.
Are you
just
Chandler,
wanna make
though?
I ask myself that question every day. I wake up and look into the mirror.
I mean, that's better than what I do when I wake up.
Do you not look at the mirror?
No, my usual question is, why am I awake?
Yeah, fair.
That's also fair. That's fair.
That is a pretty standard subroutine for me.
Anyway,
Anyway, off of the depressing
dark
episodes we have when we
existential
wake up.
crises aside, mechs to talk about.
Yes. How do you defeat an existential crisis? Giant stompy robots. And talking about them.
And fictional interstellar politics. Get me drunk and we start talking about the intricacies of the FedCom and why the Lyrans ruined it.
I love you, buddy, but you are like right in the way.
He's adorable though.
He really is.
Cyberpunk 3070.
I mean, with Mad Eye Domini, you're not wrong, though.
True.
Hey man, Tau Zombie, those are great soldiers. They were, yeah. They kind of died. Pour one out for your Tau Zombie friends out there.